Welcome to part 4 of Crochet Basics. We're going to work on single crochet. It's a very short posted stitch, a nice basic one, and it's real important to learn this stitch because it is used in many stitch patterns. All right, we're going to build, or we're going to make a slip knot, and I'll let you see me do that again. It's always good practice. I take my tail end of the yarn and I wrap it around the working yarn. I make my twist, crawl my fingers through the loose, or the noose, or the lasso, grab the working yarn, pull through. Slip knot is made. And I want to encourage you to leave a nice little tail. This is something when you begin crocheting things that are beyond practice, you're going to be weaving this in, and it's helpful when you've got a yarn needle attached to it. We'll just say like right there, to have some space to be working into the stitches when you weave it in. All right, so I'm going to put my hook inside of that lasso. Pull the working yarn, and I am going to go ahead and do 11 chains. So why don't you join me with that? So I've got that little bit of ease in here. I pulled up a bit so it's not tight, and just relax. 11 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. All right, there's my chains. We're going to start our first stitch, our first single crochet stitch in the second chain from the hook. This loop that's on the hook right now does not count. We want to count this chain here as 1 and this chain here as 2. So go ahead and just lift that top loop that you made in the chain, and it's the second one over, and put that on the hook. 2 loops on your hook. Now we're going to yarn over the hook like that. And we're going to pull that yarn through the stitch. This loop is going to stay put. We're only going to pull it through this first loop on the hook. All right, turn the head down and pull through it. It's going to feel like you've just made a chain. All right, so still with 2 loops on the hook, we're going to do another yarn over, pull up. See how that gives a little bit of space under those loops? I'm going to pull up, twist the hook head down, and pull through the tunnel. That's your first single crochet stitch made. We're going to practice that again. Now, I want you to notice it looks as if I might be able to work right here, but actually that is the loop that is holding the stitch that I just made. You can always kind of pull up on the stitch and see what loop it's attached to. So it's just a little stretched out, it'll close up. So we're going to go on to the next little rib or part of the chain. Poke your hook in and lift that loop up. 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over. Pull through just that first loop. Now we're going to yarn over. Lift up on the hook to give yourself some space. Hook head gets turned down. Pull through. Second single crochet is made. All right, and again, don't get confused and put another stitch in there. You'll start really growing your work without meaning to. If it helps, take your thumb and your index finger on this side and just pull. Can you see where the stitch is coming out of now? You can see what loop it's attached to. And now you know where the next one is. So go ahead, and whether you put the hook poking in to lift it up, or whether you use the hook head edge to scoop it. It doesn't matter. Whichever works for you. All right, yarn over, pull through the stitch, yarn over, pull through both loops. All right, I get a little sing-songy when I'm teaching how to do the stitches, so we'll do a little bit of that. All right, insert into chain, yarn over through one, yarn over through two. And that's how you know how to do a single crochet. It's yarn over through one, yarn over through two. All right, insert into the next chain, yarn over through one, yarn over through two. Let's just work to the end of this row. Yarn over through one, yarn over through two. Insert, yarn over through one, yarn over through two. And again, if it gets confusing, just take your hook hand and take this piece of fabric you're crocheting and pull it. You'll be able to see. You can see on here where the stitch is coming out of. All right, so we work into the next unworked chain. All right, I have one more to do. You can see my slip knot right here. And so I'm going to pick up my last chain, do my single crochet, and I'm at the end of the row. All right, so important part coming up here. We want to turn our work and work on the top. There's two ways to do this, and I don't know that it matters too much which way you go about doing it. You're going to do what's called a turning chain. You can do that turning chain now before you turn your work, or you can do it after you turn your work. I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. So we're going to chain one. That's just the yarn over your hook, pull it through. You've already done a bunch of foundation chaining, so you know what chaining is. You're just chaining one for single crochet. Now we turn our work. You want to keep your yarn to the back of your hook. So turn your work in such a way that makes that possible. Okay. I've already done my turning chain, which helps me to lift above my work. It doesn't keep me pinned down to the side. So I have a little bit of flexibility here now. We're going to start working, instead of in the chain, the foundation chain, into the stitches that were made on row one. This is what it looks like on the back side of your work. When you turn it, you see what looks like that foundation chain, don't you? It looks like a little chain link. There's a front loop. I'm going to pull this out and use this as a pointer. There's a front loop. There's a back loop. You are going to be working through both loops. All right. Oops, I have that in there backwards. I twisted it. All right. The very first chain or single crochet that you're going to do is in the last single crochet that you made, right here. I'm going to insert my hook under both that front and that back loop. So it's going to look like you have 3 loops on your crochet hook. Sorry, but you're operating as if you only have 2. So we're going to do our yarn over through one, and that's through the set of loops. Yarn over through the stitch. Okay. Now we have the 2 loops. Yarn over through 2. First stitch is made. All right. Go into the next unworked single crochet stitch, which is right here. Poke. Pick up both loops. Goodness, sorry. Yarn over through one, yarn over through 2. And let's just work to the end of this row. You'll have 10 single crochets, by the way, 10 stitches on each of these rows, if you wanted to count them. I think it's a good idea to count your stitches at the end of each row, especially when you are a beginner crocheter, because it is super easy to increase and to decrease without intending to. And you won't even know it's happened until you're several rows in and you'll say, what did I do? Whereas you can catch it pretty quickly if you count your stitches at the end of every row. So it's a good habit to get into. We'll do it at the end of this row. Okay, one more. This set of loops is kind of at a little bit of a downward slant here. It can make that last stitch a little bit more difficult to pick up, but you can get it. All right, last single crochet made. Ta-da! My edge is even. We're good to go. Let's count the stitches. You can, when the post gets taller, and we'll do that in upcoming videos, you can count the posts. It's a little bit harder to do that with the single crochet because it's such a small post, but you can turn it and count the sets of loops on here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one looks a little bit different. It's got that turning chain kind of covering it, but the loops are there, and this is 10. Alrighty. So we're going to put this back inside. Remember to do the turning chain. Chain 1, turn. Okay, the yarn is still to the back of my hook, and that's where we want that to be. Insert into that first stitch that you have available. It's the last stitch that you made on row 2. And go ahead and make a single crochet. Right? And we're going to work on down. Now, if you have a really tight crochet tension, you're pulling those chains tight while you're making them, this is the part that's going to be super hard for you. Or even when you get started and you maybe pull that yarn to tighten up that stitch, you have to still get that hook head through that space in order to make your stitches, and it's really hard to do that if you crochet too tight. Pretty much most everyone I have ever taught to crochet is either too loose or too tight when they begin. It's okay. This is a process. You will you'll practice a lot, and as you practice, your hands will relax, and you'll just kind of get to know when to tighten things up or when to loosen up a bit, and that's okay. When you're making, well, there's a lot of projects that you can make, and it doesn't really matter what your tension is like. If you're making a dishcloth, for instance, it doesn't matter if you crochet a little bit tighter or a little bit looser. It's fine. If you're going to make a sweater, yeah, that probably will make more of a difference. So we'll work on gauge in one of our future videos and get you some help with that. But right now, this is about practice, and this is about getting a nice and even crochet pattern down. If your piece doesn't look just like mine, don't worry about it. It's okay. This is practice, and practice makes perfect, right? All right, I've been practicing since I was in 3rd grade, so I've had a lot of time to get my gauge or the tension evened out. All right, I'm going to show you, I told you there were 2 ways to do the turning and the turning chain. All right, so you've seen me do the chain 1 turn. Now you're going to see me do turn, chain 1. As long as it happens, whether you do it before the turn or after, it doesn't matter, you're fine. So I'm going to poke in, do my single crochet. That part's all the same. Alrighty, I would just recommend that you keep practicing until single crochet is very, very natural, second nature, practically. This is comfortable for you to do. If it's really awkward by the time we finish this row and you're feeling a little bit frazzled and lost, just watch the video again. Go over it and over it. There's no hurry. I do not like to try to hurry the process up, because if these very basic things are not mastered, you're going to end up giving up on crochet. It's going to be frustrating to you. And I don't like to see that happen. Alrighty, so I'm almost at the end of this row. And again, that's the one that's a little bit harder to pick out, but because of that turning chain loop there. But it's okay. Alrighty. Nice little piece that we've already got worked up. Keep practicing, and I will see you in the next video.